Welcome back to First Things First. Chris Mannix joins us now. Chris, Nick is genuinely in a better mood when he knows that you are going to come on the show.
That is 100% true.
Genuinely in a better mood. Yeah. And it ramps
you're not
up.
Here often, and we get the other side of it the rest of the time.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad you did.
The other 4, you're stuck. I get you.
Okay. Yeah, no, he finally gets to defend.
I thought this was going to be something nice, and now you just.
That actually was very sweet. I was telling our guest how much you enjoy having him.
Still riding the Cavalier high over here.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Like a tidal wave.
We got a potential preview of a spicy playoff matchup yesterday. You know the cast of characters, don't you? Warriors, Thunder, Westbrook, Durant, general drama all around. Warriors got the win in this one behind 34 out of Kevin Durant. Westbrook did not go down easy, scored 44 of his own. However, after the game, Duran admitted the Warriors were not invincible. Chris Mannix, how vulnerable is this Golden State team?
I think they're more vulnerable than they have been before for all the reasons everybody knows. I mean, their bench is not as good as it's been in years past. Steph Curry is injured. We don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back. But one thing I'd remind people about the Warriors is that in recent years, singular year, last year, they breezed through the Western Conference playoffs. But this is not a team that has not faced adversity before. Remember 2015, they're down 2-1 to the Memphis Grizzlies. Didn't look all that good. 2016, trailing Oklahoma City 3-1 in the conference finals. They've battled through that. They battled through that problem. They have fought through some tough situations, and I still think that if they can just get Steph back.
I think most people would call those high-class problems.
High-class problems. You're right. Look,
I mean, Memphis, like the series was just getting started. Mm-hmm. All right?
But Memphis in 2015 was
now that OKC thing, like that was real. Like they wouldn't be the team they are now, that OKC thing. So I do understand that, yes, they have been. People don't give them credit for not going through anything.
Mm. Go ahead.
Look,
let you finish.
The other part of it is that as poorly as they played in the totality of the season compared to others, their bench is starting to play a little bit better. You're getting production out of Jordan Bell. Andre Iguodala hasn't played a lot in the second half of the season, but in the first half before the All-Star break, he was shooting something like 25% from three-point range. Since then, he's in the high 40s. So maybe he's starting to get some of his mojo back. Look, it's all predicated on Steph. We know that. Mm-hmm. But if he's healthy by the second round, this is still the team to beat in the West.
Well, here's the question I have for you, because this is something where there's been a bit of a point of contention. Let's say, who do you think is their worst possible matchup in the first round?
Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Oklahoma City.
Do you think they could be beat in the first round? If they get Oklahoma City, we know, let's assume Steve Kerr wasn't lying to us, Steph is not playing in that series. Do you think Oklahoma City could beat them?
If it's Oklahoma City, yes, I think Oklahoma City could.
How come?
Could. Well, look, the game last night, I thought it was an impressive win for Golden State. Look, they got contributions from guys you wouldn't ordinarily expect. But in that game, Paul George and Carmelo Anthony were basically in the crapper. Like, that was not a good performance by the other two stars. You can't expect that. You can't count on that from Oklahoma City in the postseason.
Why? When was the last time the two of them actually gave you something?
Well, they have for a lot.
At least one of the two. I think he's saying you can't count on both of them being that bad.
Pretty lengthy stretch.
That's fair, Jenna.
It has. And look, Carmelo Anthony, his game has ebbed and flowed all season long. But I do believe in Paul George in the postseason, just like I believe in Russ. I think Russ's biggest question is going to be, can he, when his teammates aren't playing good basketball, can he continue to share the ball with them? Because we've seen the numbers, right? Under 14 shots, their record's through the roof. Over 14 shots, it's not so good. So can he trust them? But that's the worst possible matchup. No Steph Curry. You're using maybe Quinn Cook on Russell Westbrook in the playoffs. That's a tough match.
So there's an interesting thing, because as people, I think, look at me as something of a Warriors critic, some would even say a Warriors hater. I don't really, I probably, the latter, the former is accurate. The latter I don't think is fair. But I would be shocked if they face a single elimination game in the first round, no matter who they play. Could Oklahoma City take them 6? Maybe. I think that they have better coaching than anyone they'd play in the first round. I think they've got a better cohesive unit, even without Steph anyone they play in the first round. The home court advantage is a real thing. Oracle in the postseason, even though this year they haven't been as good at home. But the one thing that I do think is interesting, and you saw it a bit last night after Durant had the monster first half and then was quieted somewhat in the second half. Kevin Durant said something really interesting in this podcast with Bill Simmons, the two-part series from last week. They were comparing and contrasting his game to LeBron. And they were talking about LeBron's longevity. And KD said it, and he was complimenting. He wasn't taking a shot at all. He's like, listen, LeBron works a lot on his body. He's like, I would rather work on shot making. He said, I'd rather work on my game. He's like, I spend my time, I want to be able to make a shot from anywhere on the court. LeBron's in there working on his body, and that, by the way, you can see the difference between them. What that does cause is, at times, not as easy bucket getting as you can see with other guys. Like KD he is one of the best shot makers in NBA history. But if his shot is just a little off, what he can't do is what we've seen LeBron make a career of doing. My shot's off, guess what? I'm bigger, stronger, I'm going to get to the rim. So if I were to try to create a scenario where the Warriors don't get out of the first round, it would have to be because KD goes cold. Like if KD's playing the way I know he can play, I just think with Clay and Draymond and the rest of the cast, they're so much better than everybody else.
One thing there's two things from last night's game that I really believe are important. We know there's a mismatch if they have to play OKC at the point guard with Russ. But we saw Clay have to guard Russ. Now, for me, I believe if they were to make it to the Western Conference Finals, it would be really taxing on Clay. Because that first series, he's got the toughest matchup in guarding Westbrook. So I believe that will have an effect on the team.
And in the second series, by the way, he'd probably be guarding Lillard. Because they're not going to ask Steph, especially coming off an injury, to guard Lillard.
Right. So I believe that this will be their toughest run in trying to win a championship. But I saw Steve Kerr start to make an adjustment, which kind of takes me out of the vulnerable state, where KD and Draymond started bringing the ball up the court. They start running their offense through Draymond and through KD. And you could see the overall continuity. You could see the passing come back. You could see kind of when they benched who was starting before Draymond? Before the team.
David Lee, years ago. When David Lee,
you could start to see him playing a style like when they switched to Draymond and put him in more of a passing, more aggressive role. So for me, I don't believe, because of the time they've been able to spend, and with Draymond running some of the offense and KD getting used to bringing the ball up the court and initiating the offense, I believe that will pay dividends for them as we go into the playoffs.
As much as, look, the talent we understand with Oklahoma City, but one thing we talk about with the Houston Rockets and their matchup with Golden State is the hunger that Houston has right now, the belief that this is their opportunity. Oklahoma City's got hunger and they've got hatred for Golden State, particularly Russell Westbrook, who still carries this personal grudge against them. Don't underestimate how far that might be able to take you in a first-round series where the talent level has been evened a little bit in the absence of Steph Curry.
All that being said, though, how far do you think the Warriors go?
I think they win the championship. Like, I think Steph is back by the second round. I still think they're better than Houston, and I don't think anybody in the East can touch them.
You mentioned the shocker about the East part of it. You mentioned
we'll get there too.
You mentioned the hatred. Something 1 minute into the basketball game, my phone rings because this guy's calling me, and he's like, "You watching the Warriors game?" I was like, "Yeah, man. Got it on. Got that on one screen. Cavs game on the other screen. What's up?" He's like, "Did you see what just happened with Russ?" And it was a minute in. Russ went to the basket. I think he got fouled, but whatever it was, Clay's leg was on him, and Russ threw it off him like it was a dirty piece of chicken. Like he was like, "Get away from me!" Yeah. And so and you said we might have. Like, there might be a little scuffle in this game. There might be something bad happening. Now, that didn't end up going that way, but you're talking about Russ playing with anger, playing with...
That's not a guy I want to see in the 6 or 7 game series.
No, especially not if you're matched up with Quinn Cook on the other end of the floor. I mean, look, there's a palpable desperation, I would say, in Oklahoma City as well, knowing that if they get beaten the first round, what does that mean for these guys? Does that mean that Paul George walks? Carmelo Anthony, does he wind up somewhere else? There's an
Carmelo walks, he's going to walk real slow. But
he's probably not leaving 28 million at the table. But there's just an understanding in Oklahoma City of what's at stake with this team. I think that's going to carry them a long way.
All right, Chris, stick around. Coming up, is Kawhi really on the trading block? Boy, what a long season it's been with him. That's next on First Things First.
Did the Cavs win last night? I missed it.
Look at that.